I hear children. A dog. And I see someone.
You know, Nick, I feel like my childhood is coming back and invading me again. Like, a new Godzilla movie just came out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Star Wars movie on the horizon. Now a freaking new Wolfenstein has been released.
That sounds exciting.
It is exciting, and it's even more exciting for the fact that it's actually a really good Wolfenstein game.
Even better.
This one opens it's in July 16th, 1946. So the Allies didn't win the war in 1945.
Oh.
I think Hitler's dead in this one, but he's one of his head generals, General Death's Head, is still alive. And active. So the game opens and it's in July 16th, 1946.
Mm-hmm.
And you're invading his compound, and it's like this Hail Mary invasion where if you lose, you've lost. You go in, you invade the place, and it's actually a pretty good opening sequence. It lasts about an hour. One of the things really liked about this game is that it's not your typical like modern shooter that we've been seeing lately, where it's very trimmed down, very basic, very bland, where all you have to do is aim down sights, and when you get hit, you just regenerate health. Because in this game, there's no regenerating health. You actually have to pick up health, which is actually pretty cool. But okay, I'm starting to get ahead of myself. Back to the story. So you play as William B.J. Blazkowicz, who has been the
good name.
Yeah, he's been the protagonist of the series so far, and you're invading this compound, and he winds up getting shrapnel in the back of the head, which puts him in a coma for 14 years.
Oh.
When he wakes up, he's in a mental asylum, and it's 1960, and Nazis have now rule the world.
Huh.
Which there's actually a scene where he's saying, he's like, well, I'm gonna hook up with my company, and I'm ready for duty. And they're like, no, the U.S. is gone. They nuked it. Which was pretty interesting. So yeah, the story is pretty good actually. One thing I wasn't expecting was actually some pretty well written characters.
That's good.
You go to this prison and you're starting to release like resistance members, and then you have like a base and you're slowly like building it up throughout the story to like take down the Nazi regime. So it's
Nice.
pretty good. It's a lot of good character moments when things were happening to certain characters. I actually cared, and it wasn't something that I just kind of like glossed over. Like when I was playing it, I actually felt invested in the story.
Right.
And it actually had a pretty decent ending. I think it wrapped things up pretty well. The gameplay, it definitely it's a modern shooter with some very old school tendencies. You have to pick up health. You have to pick up armor, which I have not seen in a video game in a long freaking time.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, you can pick. It's just laying everywhere. And one of my complaints with the game is like I don't mind picking up health, but you also have to pick up all the ammo.
Right.
And in a run and gun shooter, it's like you're gunning away, and then you have to like run back to the area, pick up all the ammo you can. So you wind up like retreading some stuff, or you just pick it up as you go, which I would have preferred if you just picked up the ammo.
So you actually have to stop and like
Yeah, you have to go up.
select it or whatever.
You have to go and just push square. You pick up the ammo. I didn't mind it for the health because there's an overcharge system in the game, and what you can do is you can actually go above your max health, and it slowly ticks down to it'll slowly tick back down to what your max health is. So you can kind of like do that strategically, like in the main boss battle, like the final boss battle. I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave that one there. Gonna leave that one there. I'm gonna go grab those when I need them, or when I'm gonna do an overcharge and go all guns blazing. And when you can do an overcharge, it allows like there was one point I was like at 300 health and I was just running and gunning through this room, and it was sweet.
Awesome.
It definitely encourages a run and a gun approach. Sometimes there are some sequences where I found the best approach was sitting behind cover, which was kind of annoying. There's one particular sequence where you're on this bridge, and it starts off fine, but they eventually send so many guys with like rockets at you, where you'll be doing fine against infantry, and then a rocket will fly in from out of nowhere and kill me. You can also dual wield every weapon in the game.
Oh, sweet.
Almost every weapon. There's a laser. This is the only one you can't. It's like, and you use it. Actually, I'll go into that a little bit later. So you can dual wield most of the main guns, like the assault rifles, the shotguns, the pistols, sniper rifle, but you have to actually pick up another gun. You can't just pick it up and it's like dual wield, and you can't just pick. You pick up ammo with most guns, but you have to pick up another gun to start dual wielding. So I never actually wound up dual wielding sniper rifles because there was only like one. They'd like place one for you. Yeah. One of the cool gameplay elements I liked in this, which I wish they expanded on a little bit more, is you have this I can't remember what they call it. It's shot this like continuous like laser beam, and you can use it to cut through like chain link fences.
Oh, nice.
And eventually you get a bigger version of that where you're cutting through like just full on sheet metal. And it added a really cool element to the game where I was sitting behind cover and I cut a little hole in the cover and I started shooting through that cover.
Oh, so it actually allows for some kind of creativity there.
A little bit. I was, and this isn't to knock the consoles or anything, but I was playing, and I'm not used to joysticks as much as I am with a mouse and keyboard, so I wasn't able to actually do it precisely, and it got really kind of annoying. I think even in the video, there's a bit of where I didn't cut it quite big enough, so I was like running against it until I eventually had to like dodge, like sprint slide into it. Oh yeah, and it also acts as a rail cannon. So if you land a headshot with it, it freaking just blows the body apart. Unfortunately, I guess I probably should address this. In the game, there's a certain thing that happens in the first chapter that can change the levels slightly.
Oh, interesting.
So it's actually kind of worth going back for a second playthrough. But if you're going to do that, don't select new game. Go into chapters and select the other timeline, because I went new game and it just completely wiped my save file.
Oh wow.
So I'm not able to show that footage.
Oh, that's too bad.
Which, yeah, it kind of sucks. But yeah, the railgun's cool, and there's a lot of cool guns later on in the game.
So you'd say this game does have good replayable value to it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm currently on my second playthrough right now, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. One thing that's is a problem, like, there are a lot of laser-based weapons in the game. Or not a lot, there's a few.
Yeah.
But they have a battery charge, and the battery doesn't last as long as I'd like it to. Like the railgun, which is like which is the best gun you can use against some of the heavier enemies. You only get about like 12 or so shots out of it before you're out. So you have to like go find a charge station. And there's a laser machine gun later in the game that it just runs out so fast.
Wait, a laser machine gun?
Yeah, it's a laser.
Sweet.
It's a laser assault rifle, but it runs out of ammo so fast that it was almost like it wasn't worth dual wielding, because you have to. Yeah, it was almost better just to keep it single so you can actually have more ammo to use it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's actually one of my problems with the dual wield in this game. It didn't really seem like a good strategy. It was fun. I had a lot of fun doing it, but I ran it. You just burn through your ammo so fast. So it was more just kind of like, I've got lots of health, I got lots of ammo, I'm just going to run through this room, just running and gunning away.
Yeah. So are guns the only weapons in the game?
Yeah, there's no, there's a few, like, there's some turrets that you can, like, take off their mounts and start using them. And there's actually a Tesla turret, which actually can be charged up at the battery stations. But it just takes a long time to charge, so that's your only downside with that. Also, this game has a lot of, like, really, like, a bunch of scripted sequences, and they weren't long enough to get frustrating. Like, there wasn't like quick time events, or at least there weren't a lot of quick time events, and the ones that were there weren't really aggravating. It was more push this button to knife this guy.
Right.
So that was fine. But there's some sequences, and it kind of works against one of the health system, where the health, it'll regenerate to, it kind of has like 20 health sections.
Yep. So
if you have like 100 health and you got knocked down to like 83, it would recharge it back up to 100.
Oh, okay.
And that's fine. But with some of the scripted sequences, you'll get blown back and it'll take health away. And there's no way you can avoid that damage.
Right.
And it just seems kind of cheap. The game does it less and less as it goes along. It's mainly in the prologue chapter. And they kind of like, they'll do it to you and they'll be like, all right, here's some ammo and here's some health. And you're like, all right, good to go.
Right.
But later in the game, it started getting a little bit Call of Duty-esque.
How so?
There's just a part where like you're in a crash chopper and it's like there's dudes outside and you're like just shooting away and it's like, you know, it's just kind of one of those holdout sequences that you can't win. And then, but it didn't last very long and it transitioned into like a hotel shootout through like hallways and stuff, which is really cool. And
Nice.
that's, yeah, it's most of my problems with this game are just nitpicks. There was a few glitches in the game. Going back to the hotel shootout.
Yeah.
There's a hallway, and there was just a crap ton of guys in this hallway. I was being a little bit too aggressive, and I got killed. And I was like, well, that sucks. I'll just reload the chapter. And when I did, when I reloaded the checkpoint, I was in the hallway, and everyone was dead.
Oh, handy.
It was handy, but it was frustrating because it took it away because it was actually a pretty good gunfight. And I respawned and everyone was dead.
Oh.
I don't think any ammo was in the room, so I was kind of stuck with what I had when I died. Yeah, it was a really weird glitch, and it really frustrated me. But I didn't want to restart the level because it was actually a decent way in. There's a few issues with the controls in this game I was having. One is, again, the picking up, having to constantly pick up weapons. Another one is a really odd choice where they mapped the weapon wheel to the grenade button, and you have to use the right analog stick to select, which is really, it's really different from like most games, like like Ratchet and Clank and the Resistance games. You like hold down triangle and use the left analog stick, and it was fine. Like Mass Effect, when you have like the big ability wheel, it's hold down one of the bumpers, and you use the left analog stick. But this one, it's like you hold down the grenade button, which I was really inaccurate with my weapon switching. I had to like stop and like really like focus and actually get the weapon I wanted. And I was even having issues with that even in my second playthrough, and I'm still like I'm grabbing like the wrong gun. There's a quick select, but it doesn't work very well. It doesn't seem like you get the ones you want. It goes back and forth between the last two you selected. I really like the enemy AI. It's not overly intelligent, but they don't sit behind cover. Like they'll actively try to seek you out and kill you.
Right.
And if they get the drop on you, they'll keep shooting until you're dead. Like they won't fire off a few bursts to give you a chance to get away. It's like they're behind you. They're shooting you.
Right. Yeah.
Which got me killed a lot of times because I would have my weapon wheel up, but it was really intense. Like I never felt safe when I was in the firefights. I always felt like I had to keep on the move. So the moments where I did have to sit behind cover, it didn't last very long because the enemy knew I was there and they were coming, and I had to keep moving.
So do you think that lasts across all the difficulty levels, or are there different difficulty levels?
There are 5 difficulty levels. I don't remember the names of them. It's the difficulty levels from the original Wolfenstein. There's 5. I played on, I think it was Bring It On, which I think is the normal difficulty setting. There's Bring It On, there's I'm Death Incarnate, and Uber. I started on hard, but again, I hadn't played a console shooter in a while, so I kept dying over and over and over and over and over again.
Right.
So I switched to normal, and then it was fine.
Okay. So when I play this, I should play easy.
Probably. Playing it on the PS4, like on, it was 1080p. The game looked great.
Nice.
Like there were a few graphical hiccups here and there. Like so I'd shoot a German and they'd just like fly off to the side. But for the most part, it ran well. There was a few parts where the frame rate dropped to around like, I'd say it dropped a little bit below 30 frames. And this game runs at mostly a solid 60.
Oh, nice.
There was just a few sequences. Like I like chuck a grenade, it would take out a few boxes. And there was just like kind of a lot of particles going on the screen. It would and the frame rate would drop down to around like 26, but that would last like a few seconds and then go back up. Also, throughout the game, you'll pick up upgrades for your weapons. The pistol, you get a silencer. The shotgun, you get an upgrade for it where it fires out like these flak rounds. It turns into the flak cannon from Unreal Tournament, which I thought was really fun. The machine gun got an underbarrel rocket launcher.
Oh.
Which also can be dual wielded. So you're dual wielding like rocket launchers, dual wielding shotguns, dual wielding pistols. Going back to the presentation of the game, another thing I really didn't expect is actually really, really good music. It used a lot of acoustic guitars.
Oh, that's nice.
Kind
of like The Last of Us, or
no.
Okay, never mind.
A lot of more heavy strokes and not less picking and less depressing. It was a mixture of like acoustic guitars mixing in for the bigger moments, and also some like electric guitar, like more like death metal style music for a few of the cutscenes. Some orchestrative stuff in there too, and it all actually worked really well. The music kicked in always it always kicked in at just the right moments. It gave the battles a nice sense, like some good adrenaline. There's not much to complain about this game. Like really well written, decent dialogue anyway. Good character moments. Yeah, it's just a really, really, really fun, really good Wolfenstein game. It was made by some people who wanted to make a good Wolfenstein game, and that's what we got. It's fun. It's got some heart. There are a few issues, but the positives outweigh them. And yeah, if you're a fan of first-person shooters and you want a good like old school first-person shooters, this is definitely worth a purchase in my opinion.